All right. Hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel once again, and welcome back to System Shock Radio, the first episode of System Shock Radio of the new year, and we have quite a bit to talk about. So, if this is your first episode of System Shock Radio, welcome. But if not, if you're returning, then welcome back, of course. But I got some topics for you guys, as always. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. So, starting with this first topic, there was a data breach. And this was right before. Now, some of these things are happening within the new year, and we're only a weekend, and some of these things are happening. So, years are already off to a very interesting start. But this actually happened last year. So, there was a data breach at Insomniac Games, Insomniac Studio. Those, of course, the developers behind such games as Ratchet and Clank, Spider-Man, stuff like that. But I know there was actually a couple data breaches. Is as well. But this one was the big one, not only because some personal info about a lot of the employees got leaked, like names, addresses, stuff like that, which it is definitely messed up. But even an early build of the upcoming Wolverine game, in which some people were even had access to, who and were able to you play and stuff, and some people were criticizing this early build, saying it didn't look good and stuff like that, which a lot of people were calling out. It's an early build, of course it's not going to look the best. The thing is sadly I don't think a lot of people realize just how much work goes into game development, and there's a reason why game development usually is supposed to take oftentimes years to do, because there's a lot that they have to code in, and not just this movement, which this build if I'm not mistaken, was pretty far along, and even had, I think, some of the mechanics and stuff, but um yeah, they have to program character. They have to program the character movement. They have to program the environments and stuff like that. Which, while you see games that don't have a lot of development put into it, oftentimes flop, and you can tell what does and doesn't have a lot of development, especially with Insomniac, where especially when it comes to their Marvel games, when they make Marvel games like Spider-Man and now Wolverine. And there's a lot of attention to detail. I'll use Spider-Man as an example. With the swinging, swinging feels fluid. It feels nice. It feels nice to control. Even when Miles doesn't feel as experienced with swinging, it still feels quite a bit of fun. Spider-Man has a lot of gadgets and stuff like that. Had a lot of stuff that makes you feel like Spider-Man. So a lot of that attention to detail is evident within the Insomniac games, and but that all takes a while to do. That oftentimes takes years to do. But it is unfortunate that this data got leaked, and that and that this stuff was released to the public before Insomniac themselves could release it. They released a statement and talking about it and everything. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it has been pulled and stuff. But it's just unfortunate that someone would hack in and take them out, and some people, and it was really weird and not and interesting, not in a good way, for people to blame Insomniac for themselves for getting hacked. Hacked. Lest we forget, the Pentagon has been hacked before, or the Pentagon in the United States has been hacked before. It sadly is possible, but yeah, just unfortunate, and unfortunate that people's personal information got leaked. Obviously that's way worse than the build being leaked, but the build for Wolverine and stuff, the game before it before it's finished, which I guess is in a way a kind of early beta, although an unscheduled, not supposed to be released early-ish beta, if you will, a de facto beta, if you will, being released, but but that, and maybe it's more of an alpha, but it's unfortunate that that breach occurred. But the next thing is that My Hero Academia season 7 is on the horizon. It's supposed to be coming out this year. I forget exactly when it is supposed to be coming out. I believe around April, but I'm excited. If you remember last year, or I actually finished My Hero Academia. I watched the whole anime and everything. And I do kind of want to go back to watch the to not watch, read the manga, but But season 7, I know a lot of people are excited for. Or so it looks like, hey, according to digitalspy.com here, or it looks like, hey, yeah, and a couple articles actually. Hey, it looks like it's supposed to be released on May 4th of 2024. So May the 4th be with you, of course. But also I am excited. I am hype. I'm interested to see what they do with it moving into this new saga, and it is something that they covered in the manga. Of course, I forget the exact name of the saga, but I'm excited. Like seasons 1 through 6, because while it did have its little moments, it also did have its very exciting moments. My first anime that I've watched, and being able to see it through in the new season, which may or may not be the last season. I'm excited. I'm interested. Let me know if you guys are excited for My Hero Academia season 7, as it is on the horizon. But the next thing that we're going to talk about is that MJF is not only taking some time off, but being removed from the AEW roster page. So he was removed from the roster page after he lost the championship and lost his best friend, his brochacho, Adam Cole, at World's End, and but also MJF is apparently taking some time off, and maybe taking a while off. In fact, it's something he wants to avoid. But if he does have to get shoulder surgery, which they say his shoulder is the most messed up part of him right now, then he may be off out for about a year, or which it's man a year, an entire full year without MJF would definitely be insane. But I know he's been battling through quite a few injury. He's so MJF taking that time off, and which he's definitely earned, I'm sure. But him being removed from the roster page, it's not the first time they've done it. So this may be a part of the storyline, and some people who are debating is it a shoot, is it a work, because MJF's contract is supposed to be up, and he may or may not be heading to WWE. Some people are so that's why some people are speculating: is it a shoot? Is it a work? Is MJF truly leaving? Is it just part of the storyline? Because the storyline is that Adam Cole and his new faction, which they're calling the Undisputed Kingdom, essentially he in storyline saying they ran him out of AEW, that he's not coming back, he's never coming back. So that's why people are speculating: is this a storyline? Is it real? Also, oh, so kind of up in the air for now, but in the meantime, wishing, of course, a speedy recovery to MJF, and hoping that he heals through and works through his injuries and stuff he's got going on. And if he does need the shoulder surgery, he and will be out for a year, then and he definitely will be missed. But he'll be interesting to see if he comes back. But it'll also be interesting to see if they can carry that faction for a year. Like AEW, when it comes to factions, have been kind of hit or miss. Like sometimes they can go on for a while and be cool and interesting, but then sometimes they are or not. And we definitely, like I said, seen examples of both in AEW. So where will the Undisputed Kingdom lie? We'll find out. Already they're potentially teasing tension. I didn't see the segment itself, but people were pointing out the potential tension between Adam Cole and Wardlow, with Adam Cole saying that Wardlow's going to hand the championship over to Adam Cole, and Wardlow, who almost given him the Ike Turner face, but we'll see what they do from there. And it does kind of make sense, because Wardlow's whole thing is that he's gonna take everything from MJF. He's gonna take MJF took what he loved from him, so Wardlow's gonna take that from MJF, and so, and it seemed like it was alluding to the AW World Championship, if it may, but some say it may even be alluding to MJF's career, at least at this point in time, with MJF being on the shelf. But where will it develop? We will find out. But the next thing that we're talking about, speaking of contracts, there's a lot of contract talk as of late, on all sides, in WWE, AEW, Impact, even, and as some talent may be on their way to WWE, some talent may be on their way to AEW. A lot of speculation and a lot of stuff up in the air. So, So, first on the WWE side, we have one of the big ones, in fact, probably the biggest one, and or at least one of the biggest ones, that being Sasha Banks slash Mercedes Moné. Hey, it's been speculated on both sides, WWE and AEW, who there was the report that she was in talks with AEW, but then those talks fell through. But then it said she was in talks with WWE, and then those talks fell through. So well, some people are expecting her to go to AEW, and keep in mind this is all a lot of this is speculation for right now. Very little of this is very concrete, which is why I say a lot of it is up in the air. Personally, where would I like to see Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné go? Oh, honestly, either side would be really good. The women's divisions on either side have been okay, but not great. They've been improved for the most part under the Triple H regime, at least in terms of WWE and AEW, who seems like they're slowly still trying to find their footing. When it comes to the women's division, and but Sasha Banks slash Mercedes Moné, whichever one she'll be known as, depending on which company she goes to, or she goes to a totally other company. Yeah, I think she definitely could bring a lot. Of course, she's very talented. It is Mercedes Moné. Her going to either company, I think, would be very beneficial to them. And then there's Naomi slash Trinity Fatu, who some are saying she is headed to WWE. That she's WWE bound. Of course, she was in Impact for a while, but now saying she may be on her way to WWE. And there's Julia from New Japan, and unfortunately, not too familiar with her. From what I heard, she's very very good and seems to be WWE bound. I'm saying she may be headed to the NXT brand, and which some have contended it it's kind of like back and forth as to whether or not that's a good decision. On one hand, NXT is kind of seen as developmental, so some say it's developmental, it's beneath her because she's been around for a little bit, but others are saying because English is their first language, and the W style is very different from the New Japan style. They don't want to necessarily throw her in the deep end on the main roster, or throw her in NXT, have her become more acquainted with the NXT crowd before calling her up to the main roster. And that I can definitely see, because they did the same with several other stars such as Asuka or Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn, Finn Balor, where they had wrestled before it and made names for themselves in other companies, but they knew that if they put them on the main roster eminently, they would sink there, so they sent them into NXT, and then by the time they got to the main roster, people were a lot more familiar with them and happy to see them on the main roster. So I can definitely see that argument. I can almost see the other argument, but I think her potentially going to NXT, I think, would be nice. And then and there's Deonna Purrazzo, who just made her debut for AEW. So she's a part of the AEW brand. So a lot of moving pieces, a lot of people going different places. But then, speaking of which, we also have some AEW departures. So we have some departures from the management side, but then we even have some talent departures such as Sean Spears, Andrade El Idolo, QT Marshall as well, which QT Marshall was there for a little bit. So to see him wrap up was interesting, and Andrade El Idolo wrapping up as well, although some believe he is WWE bound as well. And it was confirmed. And I mentioned this when I did my prediction slash review for World's End, but it had been confirmed that was his last match against Miro and stuff. He's seemingly on his way to WWE. We'll see where he ends up. And Sean Spears, we'll see where he ends up as well. But then, and also, like I said, a lot of moving pieces. So it looks like both Dolph Ziggler and Matt Riddle are going to be working with New Japan going forward, which is insane to think about. So a lot of things happening in the wrestling business. The wrestling business truly is back, baby. Yeah, and not even mentioning some of the stuff that happened last night on SmackDown, which maybe I'll talk about in a video late next week or so. The last thing that I want to talk about, and it's something that's big and something that I'm sure a lot of us have dealt with before, and that's dwelling on the past. Now, admittedly, I've been guilty of this before too. There's things that happened in our past that keep running through our mind, and we keep allowing us, and we keep allowing to torment us things that we did that didn't quite go the way we wanted to, that didn't quite go the way we expected to. Pretty much, pretty much carrying that what happened in that subsequent baggage over into our regular life. And the thing is, yes, the past you're supposed to learn from, at least theoretically, the past you're supposed to learn from and grow and evolve from. And of course, nothing wrong with that. That's how growth happens. But when we dwell on the past, when we stay stuck in the past, when we stay stuck in our past, as in what happened, instead of moving forward, we stay stuck. Because we can't move on from what happened. Some things are traumatic, of course. Things are definitely hard to move on from. Some things are way too major to just drop and move on from. It's easier said than done, and like I said, it's something I've dealt with before. But how are we to advance and go places and move forward with our lives if we can't let go of the past? As an example I can give, I recently finished playing Psychonauts, which if you haven't already, go check out that review. But Edgar's level in Psychonauts, the Black Velvet Topia, I believe the name was called, holds pretty much essentially his entire mind is built on his past. There's the bull el odio, meaning hatred, pretty much running on a loop, showing his hatred for what happened to him and what happened to him back in high school, and to the point where it was kind of taking the extreme where it very much was as what happened, but very, I'd say probably romanticized or exaggerated in a way, but it kept running through his mind. It kept ruling over him, to the point where he couldn't move on. He couldn't move forward with his life. And of course, Raz was able to help him out with that. And that's often what we run into, where our past will oftentimes haunt us forever. Some people never move on like whether it be past trauma, past relationship, if things that didn't quite go well, hatred, not forgiving certain people or certain things that happen. Like I said, some stuff is hard to let go. Some stuff you probably shouldn't even let go. But when you dwell on that past, when you stay stuck in the past, when your mind constantly is replaying what happened over and over and over again, and instead of learning from it, instead of using it as growth, you stay stuck there, or you don't move forward. Let me know if this is making any sense. But like I said, easier said than done. But I promise you, what happened in your past was your past. As you leave it there, and you move on because you have to move forward. Heard in life. But I think that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video, so you can see as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts on anything I talked about in this episode, and yeah, let me know. And of course, if you have any topics that you want me to talk about on System Shock Radio, please let me know, whether in the comments or you can message me. I of course have social medias. I have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Those are in the link tree in the description, so go check those out. Go give those a follow. Message me there, or you can leave them in the comments. Any way you can get a hold of me, of course. But nevertheless, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace.